Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, an oft-maligned law firm in central Minnesota. What's up, guys? How's it going? I got berated in a YouTube comment the other day because because of my perspective on something means I will always be a small town lawyer, as if I have some desire to be something else than that, or that somehow like a small town lawyer is less desirable than some other type of lawyer. I don't know. I don't get it. But that's what happened. So I was like, oh, God, thank you. Thank goodness that I will always be a small town lawyer, because I don't want to be anything different. Like, when you go work for a big law firm in a big city, your life goes straight into the law firm. Like, that's what you will do. You'll work yourself to the bone. And because they're grindhouses, they don't need a filthy casual, right? They just need people to just type and type and type and read and type. It's awful. Don't want to do that ever. God, what a horrific life that can be. To the people who can pull it off, much respect to them. I would never want to be you, though. So anyway, well, here it is. Here's what we have. Here's what we have coming. It's apparently live. I guess they went live. Their thing said they weren't live for another 15 minutes just a second ago, but now they've changed it and they've gone live early. Chat is disabled for their bogus live stream. They've gone live early because of me. It's me. I have forced them to go live early. That is the only thing I can assume, because it said just a second ago, 15 minutes left, and now they're on. So, the dislikes, don't worry. They will fortify the likes versus dislikes very, very soon. That fortification is coming. They will fortify and enhance the like to dislike ratio very quickly. Once a few, come on, mans, and where's my oatmeal? And they gave me a list of what to say. Once a few more of those happen, those likes are going to come. It's going to be a snare drum of likes. But that's, for now, the ratio is pretty intense. So anyway, here's what we're doing today. We will be watching Uncle Joe, old Uncle Joe, come out and bumble through a press conference in which he will explain the glorious revolution against the evil capitalist COVID Delta variant. That is the goal of what's going on. They are going to implement a 5-year plan. Just 5 years, probably 10, maybe 20, who knows, forever. Plans to eliminate COVID, the COVID capitalist pig dog, and that will be okay once it's gone forever. That's the gist of what's going on today. We're going to get to see Biden bumble through this press conference. And whenever he is going live and I'm available, I want to be there to watch, because I have a duty as a propagandist of the American Pravda to support my president in everything he needs to say and to apologize. I'm 100% behind whatever plan Joe Biden has, because it is wise and good. I know this because he is the glorious leader and his plans are always wise and good. So that is what we are here for today, is to listen to the wise and good plans of the of the administration, of the administratum, as they implement more rules for our safety and protection and fortify our rights by just temporarily, permanently removing them. So if you guys, there is actually good news coming out of this administration temporarily as of Tuesday. I didn't see it until today. As of Tuesday, there is some very good news that comes out. Chipman is out as the ATF nominee. So Chipman, he's he's like the government murder endorser in chief who is super pro gun regulation. And they're like, yeah, put that guy in ATF. It's like, oh, good. So he can decide to take guns and kill people while he does it. Perfect. He's got a track record of it. That guy is no longer going to be in the administration. Not movie Bob, the other Chipman. Oh shoot, yeah, I changed the painting behind me because I had a court hearing today. I forgot to change it back. I didn't think that a bunch of whiskey behind me was a good idea for a court hearing. So I changed it to the I am not a cat thing. But yeah, I'll have to change that back for tonight. Yeah, I'm sure. Right. Breck says Chipman was nominated to make the next choice who will be terrible look like a saint. Yeah. No, he was an Overton window pick. What brand of paint? It's Army Painter, I think is the brand. I don't have the box anymore. Yeah, the Army Painter war paints. So, that's what's behind me. So, yes, we will be, the goal of today, of course, is to grift. That is the goal of every day. But we will grift using Joe Biden because, someone has to. I mean, I'm guessing his posterior is worn out from Kamala using him like a puppet, but we will use him too. He is, after all, America's problem. So we do have a couple chats. I want to try and keep up with these as we go as much as possible, especially the early ones. And we will read those along. 1 second. Let me grab the ones that came in for the show. Let's see. Trideo says, in stern daddy voice, clearly you don't own an air fryer. I think that's it. Speaking of Stern, did you guys see Howard Stern is on the fuck your freedom train, right up with Arnold. It's amazing that these people who rely on freedom, Arnold was a movie star starring in extremely violent films, which I fully support and endorse. But if people had their way, those films would have been censored into oblivion. Now, Howard Stern, the shock jock in chief, the vulgar, profane speaker to end all speakers, is out saying, to hell with your freedoms. I mean, what is this? Again, a guy whose career could not exist without First Amendment protections. These people are pussies, man. I can't stand it. He's a well-known germaphobe. Well, he should be a lifeophobe. I think his time's up. How many people does Howard Stern, how many peons does Howard Stern interact with on the average day? Like, how afraid is Howard Stern really need to be of COVID? This is a man with the resources to insulate himself from anything. Just embarrassing. Mario Carter 13 says, the plan says everything that didn't work first time. But we're going to do it harder this time. Mandatory ice cream cones. The gray one says, afternoon, Nick, at work and eager to listen if Biden decides to force me to risk my life for my job or not, shaking with rage. Oh, he plans to force whatever he can on you, just like he forces those sniffs on young children. Kakalo Tuzaru says, damn it, Nick, I'd have waited to have that Talisker you recommended had I known you were going to go live now. Oh, well, spiritual cheers. By the way, it was good. Oh, you got the 10-year Talisker? That's a good whiskey, man. Especially for the price. Especially for the price. Look, if Biden doesn't show up for 3 hours, then I sit here and improv for 3 straight hours. That's what happens. That's reality. That's life. We're living it. It's alive. We've got to embrace it, guys. I've had to skip 2 streaming days this week because this week is really, really busy for me. And compound that with I had just a massive headache, like behind my eyes and down like the occipital lobe of my brain and into my neck yesterday. And I think I figured it out. Because you're on your period. That's one likely possibility. But the main thing is I think I figured it out is I was up at camp with the family. We do a family camp every Labor Day. It's a lot of fun, but the beds are garbage. Like it's like the camp uses their money for other things than mattresses. Whereas me, I'm like, well, why isn't every mattress like a $10,000 mattress? They're like, we'll instead buy $4 mattresses and do a bunch of activities for kids to have fun with and stuff like that, and for families to participate in. We'll spend the money that way instead. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I had to sleep on a bed that was awful. And I think because of that, my neck and back have been just out of sorts. So I did 30 minutes in the massage chair before the stream, and I'll probably do 30 minutes in the massage chair a little bit later as well, or the hot tub, because seriously, my back and neck are just wrecked. Ken's Counseling Couch says, want to know a sub-fun fact from my stream on Tuesday? I had so many viewers that just my stream on Tuesday made it to 34% of my total views, also waiting on partner program approval, submitted my app. Whoa, did you stream the Guardian ad litem report? Is that what you did there? Man, that's great, buddy. Good work. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers was on Viva and Barnes. Oh, Sidebar yesterday. Awesome. Yeah, that Guardian ad litem report. I read it, and I'm not super impressed with it. But hey, that's just me. Whew. But yes. So my other project today, hopefully, is to get that Michael Long interview back up on the channel with the proper edit, which I just have to figure out how to put a graphic of a giant middle finger that says to you, Laura Elkind, with all of the love. Like, I just need that covering up the actual text of the documents that I shared on screen, because that is the source of the problem. So that's what I need to figure out how to do. And once I do that, I will have the interview uploaded. I will upload it all to Locals as well. I just have to chop it up into parts because Locals doesn't take a 5-hour video yet. So that'll be something as well. A Wild Deku says, I'm calling it now. They're going to blame those that are not vaccinated for all the shutdowns, restrictions, and loss of businesses. They took nothing from you. The government did, though. Yeah. Someone said, was arguing with me about COVID stuff. And again, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-COVID vaccine either. I'm anti-mandate. I am not currently vaccinated. That I have no need to be. There's no upside for me to do this. I live in a small town. Minnesota has what, six COVID deaths in the past 2 months, something like that. I'm not near any sort of epicenter. Even if I take everything they say about COVID at face value, there's no upside for me to taking the vaccine right now. It's just not. I'm a low risk contractor as well as a low risk dyer. So I'm not really worried about it, but I'm not opposed to it. I am opposed to the government mandating it. That's what I'm opposed to. And I always will be. I will always be opposed to a mandated vaccine. I don't care if it's super Ebola AIDS that ravages the population and kills everybody. I will be opposed to a government mandated vaccine for super Ebola AIDS, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense to mandate vaccines in a free society. What makes sense is putting out the appropriate, truthful information, something notably lacking from this administration, but putting out the appropriate, truthful information about what's going on, about what the causes are, about various theories, about where it might have originated, things like that. Putting out that info to the public, investigating the sources of the problem rather than trying to sweep that under the rug, and then offering people the choice based on the information that you've provided. And just a humble request from government to consider the public health. A humble a legitimate humble request. Not a, look, we're humbly requesting you consider the public health or else we're going to shut you out of society. Nope, not how a free society works. It's just not. And so that's my stance on this and every vaccine. I've never been a fan of mandatory vaccines for kids, even though my kids are basically fully vaccinated. It's not about, they've set up a system where a freedom and liberty perspective is somehow an anti-science perspective, even if you're not opposed to science. Oh my God, he's on.
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
Shut up, old man.
I want to talk to you about where we are in the battle against COVID-19, the progress we've made, and the work we have left to do.
Oh, God.
And it starts with understanding this. Even as the Delta variant COVID-19 has been hitting this country hard, we have the tools to combat the virus.
Do we?
If we can come together as a country and use those tools. If we raise our vaccination rate, protect ourselves and others with masking, expanded testing, and identify people who are infected.
Identify them, put them on a list.
We will turn the tide on COVID-19. It'll take a lot of hard work. It's going to take some time. Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated, even though the vaccine is safe, effective, and free. You might be confused about what is true and what is false about COVID-19.
If the product is free, you're the
So before I
product.
outline the new steps to fight COVID-19 that I'm going to be announcing tonight, let me give you some clear information about where we stand.
Oh, yes.
First,
where do you stand?
we've made considerable progress in battling COVID-19. When I became president, about 2 million Americans were fully vaccinated. Today, over 175 million Americans have that protection. Before I took office, we hadn't ordered enough vaccine for every American. Just weeks in office, we did. The week before I took office on January 20th of this year, over 25,000 Americans died that week from COVID-19. Last week, that grim weekly toll was down 70%. And then 3 months before I took office, our economy was faltering creating just 50,000 jobs a month. We're now averaging 700,000 new jobs a month.
That's not what the latest economic report said.
This progress is real. But while America is much in better shape than it was 7 months ago when I took office, I need to tell you a second fact.
Does it feel like better shape? Oh my God.
And it could last for a while. Highly contagious Delta variant that I began to warn America about back in July spread late summer like it did in other countries before us. While the vaccines provide strong protection for the vaccinated, we read about and hear about and we see the stories of hospitalized people on their deathbeds among the unvaccinated over the past few weeks.
What?
This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And it's caused by the fact that despite America having unprecedented and successful vaccination program, despite the fact that for almost 5 months, free vaccines have been available in 80,000 different locations, we still have nearly 80 million Americans who have failed to get the shot.
If it's against the unvaccinated, who cares?
To make matters worse, there are elected officials
That's personal
actively
choice.
working to undermine the fight against COVID-19. Instead of encouraging people to get vaccinated and mask up, they're ordering mobile morgues for the unvaccinated dying from COVID in their communities.
Who did
this
that?
This is totally unacceptable. Third,
can I get a
wonder
mobile
how
morgue?
all this adds up. Here's the math. The vast majority of Americans are doing the right thing. Nearly 3/4 of the eligible have gotten at least one shot. But 1/4 has not gotten any. That's nearly 80 million Americans not vaccinated.
He has permanent
in a
Clint
country
Eastwood
as large
face.
as ours, that's 25%.
But none of his
minority.
character.
That 25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are.
Then cause
The
25%
unvaccinated
of damage.
overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer.
Yeah, Joe's getting this
fourth,
from Rolling
I
Stone,
want to
apparently.
emphasize that the vaccines provide very strong protection from severe illness from COVID-19. I know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation, but the world's leading scientists confirm that if you're fully vaccinated, your risk of severe illness from COVID-19 is very low. In fact, based on available data from the summer, only 1 out of every 160,000 fully vaccinated Americans was hospitalized for COVID per day.
What about
These are the
what
facts.
about total American numbers?
So here's where we stand. The path ahead, even with the Delta variant, is not nearly as bad as last winter. But what makes it incredibly more frustrating
Is government.
is that we
Done.
have the tools to combat COVID-19, and a distinct minority of Americans, supported by a distinct minority of elected officials,
Distinct
are keeping us
minorities.
from turning
Oh my
the
God.
corner. These pandemic politics, as I refer to, are making people sick, causing
There's a politician
unvaccinated people to
bitching about
die.
other politicians
We
disagreeing.
cannot allow these actions to stand in the way of protecting the large majority of Americans who have done their part and want to get back to life as normal.
I'm doing my part. You're never
As your
going to let us
president,
get back to life as normal.
I'm announcing tonight a new plan to require more Americans to be vaccinated to combat those
Americans.
blocking public health. My plan also increases testing, protects our economy, and will make our kids safer in schools.
Oh, good. $4 gas
It
is on the
consists
way.
of 6 broad areas of action and many specific measures in each of those actions you can read more about in whitehouse.gov.
Go to whitehouse.com
Whitehouse.gov.
for better pictures.
The measures, these are going to take time to have full impact. But if we implement them, I believe, and the scientists indicate, that the months ahead we can reduce the number of unvaccinated Americans, decrease hospitalizations and deaths, and allow our children to go to school safely and keep our economy strong by keeping businesses open.
Get the
First,
Baltimore kids in school.
we
Try
must
that one.
increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements. Of the nearly 80 million eligible Americans who have not gotten vaccinated, Many said they were waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA.
No, you made that up.
Well, last month, the FDA granted that approval. So the time for waiting is over. This summer, we made progress through the combination of vaccine requirements and incentives, as well as the FDA approval. 4 million more people got their first shot in August than they did in July. But we need to do more. This is not about freedom.
Wait, if the numbers are going up, why do you have to have more requirements?
It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
No, fuck you. It's always about freedom. Fuck you.
The people you care about, the people you love. My job as president is to protect all Americans. So tonight, I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already requiring this. United Airlines, Disney, Tyson's Food, and even Fox News. The bottom line, we're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers. We're going to reduce the spread of COVID-19 by increasing the share of the workforce that is vaccinated in businesses all across America. My plan will extend the vaccination requirements that I previously issued in the healthcare field. Already, I've announced we'll be requiring vaccinations of all nursing home workers who treat patients on Medicare and Medicaid because I have that federal authority. Tonight, I'm using that same authority to expand that to cover those who work in hospitals, home health care facilities, or other medical facilities. A total of 17 million healthcare workers.
Sorry, healthcare workers.
If you're seeking care at a health facility, you should be able to know that the people treating you are vaccinated. Simple, straightforward, period. Next, I will sign an executive order.
It's almost like the healthcare facilities could advertise that if they thought it would be beneficial.
Federal employees to be vaccinated, all. And I've signed another executive order that will require federal contractors to do the same. If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
Vaccinated.
If you want to do business with the federal government, vaccinate your workforce. And tonight, I'm removing one of the last remaining obstacles that make it difficult for you to get vaccinated.
Oh, there's an
obstacle? The Department of Labor will require employers with 100 or more workers to give those workers paid time off to get vaccinated. No one should lose pay in order to get vaccinated or take a loved one to get vaccinated.
What's it like
today?
For the 30-minute trip to the grocery store?
The vaccine requirements in my plan will affect about 100 million Americans, 2/3 of all workers. And for other sectors,
I think this will mark the first time the White House staff is required to be vaccinated.
To those of you running large entertainment venues, from sports arenas to concert venues to movie theaters, please require folks to get vaccinated or show a negative test as a condition of entry. And to the nation's family physicians, pediatricians, GPs, general practitioners, you're the most trusted medical voice to your patients.
And notice they haven't already required it without government coercion.
Someone to change their mind about being vaccinated. Tonight, I'm asking each of you to reach out to your unvaccinated patients over the next 2 weeks and make a personal appeal to them to get the shot. America needs your personal involvement in this critical effort. My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free,
a government that doesn't lie,
safe and convenient.
How do we know it's safe? We don't trust you.
Approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing.
My refusal hasn't cost you shit.
Don't take it from me.
I haven't gotten anybody sick.
Listen to the voices of unvaccinated Americans who are lying in hospital beds, taking their final breath saying, if only I'd gotten vaccinated.
Or didn't have
If
diabetes from
It's a
eating
tragedy.
75 cheeseburgers a day.
Please don't let it become yours. The second piece of my plan is continuing to protect the vaccinated. For the vast majority of you who've gotten vaccinated, I understand your anger at those who haven't gotten vaccinated.
Why are they angry?
I understand the
They're
anxiety
vaccinated.
about getting a breakthrough case.
Why would you get a breakthrough case if it's
But
a
as the
vaccine?
science makes clear, if you're fully vaccinated, you're highly protected from severe illness, even if you get COVID-19.
Remember all those polio
In
breakthrough
fact,
cases?
recent data indicates there is only one confirmed positive case per 5,000 fully vaccinated Americans per day.
1 in 5,000
You're
is a
as safe
lot.
as possible. And we're doing everything we can to keep it that way. Keep it that way. Keep you safe.
That's a lot of people.
That's where boosters come in. The shots that give you even more protection than after your second shot. Now, I know there's been some confusion about boosters, so let me be clear. Last month, our top government doctors announced an initial plan
Top
for
men.
booster shots for vaccinated Americans. They believe that the booster is likely to provide the highest level of protection yet. Of course,
Until the next booster.
decision of which booster shots to give, when to start them, and who will give them will
Depends
be
on
left
lobbyists.
completely to the scientists at the FDA and the
The
Centers for Disease Control.
lobbyists.
But while we wait,
lobbyists.
we've done our part. We bought enough boosters, enough booster shots, and the distribution system is ready to administer them. As soon as they are authorized, those eligible will be able to get a booster right away in tens of thousands of sites across the country for most Americans at your nearby drugstore and for free. The third piece of my plan is and maybe the most important, is keeping our children safe and our schools open.
Oh, yeah.
For any parent, it doesn't matter how low the risk of any illness or accident is when it comes to your child or grandchild.
Wait,
Trust me,
then
I
that's
know.
why they don't want to get the shot.
So,
They don't know
let
what
me
the risk
speak to you
is.
directly. Let me speak to you directly to help ease some of your worries.
Oh,
It comes
that's
down
going to
to
help.
two separate categories. Children ages 12 and older who are eligible for a vaccine now, and children ages 11 and under who are not yet eligible. The safest thing for your child, 12 and older, is to get them vaccinated. They get vaccinated for
Just
a lot
get
of
them
things.
vaccinated. You notice how
That's
he does
it. Get them
that voice
vaccinated.
makes me trust him less.
As with adults, almost all the serious COVID-19 cases we're seeing among adolescents are in unvaccinated 12 to 17-year-olds, an age group that lags
have
behind in vaccination rates.
Who are 400
parents,
pounds, man? Talk
Please
about
get
the
your children
reality.
vaccinated. What about children under the age of 12 who can't get vaccinated yet? Well,
Why can't they get
the
vaccinated
best way
yet,
for a
Joe?
parent to protect their child under the age of 12 starts at home. Every parent, every teen sibling, every caregiver around them should be vaccinated. Children have 4 times higher chance of getting hospitalized if they live in a state with low vaccination rates rather than states with high vaccination rates. Now, if you're a parent of a young
Which
child,
means it's a city with
you're
low
wondering,
vaccination
when
rates,
will it
like
be, when
New
will
York,
it be
Detroit,
the vaccine available
Chicago,
for them?
your voters.
I strongly support independent scientific review for vaccine uses for children
No,
under
you
12.
don't.
We can't take shortcuts.
You
to that
took a
scientific
shortcut for
work.
everybody else.
But I've made it clear I will do everything within my power to support the FDA with any resource it needs to continue to do this as safely and as quickly as possible. And our nation's top doctors are committed to keeping the public at large updated on the process so parents can plan. Now to the schools. We know that if schools follow the science,
Joe cares about kids. That's
and
why he's
implement the
using
safety
the full
measures
force
like
of government
testing,
to fight for
masking,
abortion right now.
adequate ventilation systems, which we provided the money for, social distancing, and vaccinations, then children can be safe from COVID-19 in schools. Today, about 90% of school staffs and teachers are vaccinated. We should get that to 100%.
Why? 90%
My
is
administration
heard.
has already acquired teachers at the schools run by the Defense Department, because I have the authority as president of the federal system, the Defense Department and the Interior Department, to get vaccinated. That's authority I possess. Tonight, I'm announcing that will require
diddle that
all
authority.
of nearly 300,000 educators in the federal HEP program, Head Start programs, must be vaccinated as well to protect your youngest, our youngest, most precious Americans, and give parents the comfort. And tonight, I'm calling on all governors to require vaccination for all teachers and staff. Some already have done so. We need more
We're going
to
to require
step
it in
up.
kids soon.
Vaccination requirements in
60
schools
days?
are nothing new. They work. They're overwhelmingly supported by educators and their unions.
Oh, I
But all
trust the
school
unions
officials
and the
trying to do the
educators.
right thing by our children. I'll always be on your side. Let me be blunt. My plan also takes on elected officials in states that are undermining you and these life-saving actions. Right now,
Undermining you by letting you
local
choose.
school officials are trying to keep children safe in a pandemic while their governor picks a fight with them and even threatens their salaries or their jobs. Talk about bullying in schools.
The government mandate isn't
They'll
the
not
bully.
help. These governors won't help us beat the pandemic. I'll use my power as president to get them out of the way.
No one is stopping a
Department
single
of
child from
Education
wearing a mask or getting
has already
vaccinated.
begun to take legal action against states undermining protection that local school officials have ordered. Any teacher or school official whose pay is withheld for doing the right thing, we will have that pay restored by the federal government 100%.
Oh, I hope every Republican
I will
state
have your back.
cancels all the money for
Fourth
teachers.
piece of my plan
That would be make the
is
feds pay
increasing
for it.
testing and masking. From the start, America has failed to do enough COVID-19 testing. In order to better detect and control the Delta variant, I'm taking steps tonight to make testing more available, more affordable, and more convenient. I'll use the Defense Production Act to increase production of rapid tests, including those that you can use at home.
Oh,
While
good.
that production is ramping up, my administration has worked with top retailers like Walmart, Amazon, and Kroger.
Top men.
And tonight, we're announcing
Kroger?
that no later than next week, each of these outlets will start to sell at-home rapid test kits at cost for the next 3 months. This immediate price reduction for at-home test kits for up to 35% reduction. We'll also expand free testing at 10,000 pharmacies around the country. And we're committing $2 billion to purchase nearly 300 million rapid tests for distribution to community health centers, food banks,
What if we all go get tested
schools,
every day?
so that every American, no matter
For
their
free.
income,
I mean,
can
because the
access
government's
free
paying
and
for it.
convenient tests. This is important to everyone, particularly for a parent or a child with a child not old enough to be vaccinated. You'll be able to test them at home and test those around them.
Yeah, you can stick a needle in
In
them.
addition to testing, we know masking helps stop the spread of COVID-19. That's why when I came into office, I required masks for all federal buildings, on federal lands, on airlines, and other modes of transportation. Tonight, I'm announcing
Here it
that
comes.
the Transportation Safety Administration, the TSA,
Fucked.
will double the fines on travelers that refuse to mask. If you break the rules, be prepared to pay. And by the way, show some respect. The anger you see on television toward flight attendants and others doing their job is wrong. It's ugly.
Maybe they think the
The
mask
fifth
mandates
piece
are
of
wrong.
my plan is protecting our economic recovery.
What
Because
economic
of our
recovery?
vaccination program and the American Rescue Plan, which we passed
Every place
early
I
in my
know is closing
administration,
hours early because no
we've
one
had
wants to
record
work.
job creation for a new administration.
What jobs? Nobody can
Economic
fill the
growth
jobs.
unmatched in 40 years. We cannot let unvaccinated do this progress.
He's
Undo it.
creating a
Turn
subclass
it
in
back.
America right
So
now.
tonight, I'm announcing additional steps to strengthen our economic recovery. We'll be expanding COVID-19 economic injury disaster loan programs. That's a program that's going to allow small businesses to borrow up to $2 million from the current $500,000 to keep going if COVID-19 impacts on their sales. These low-interest, long-term loans require no repayment for 2 years and can be used to hire and retain workers, purchase inventory, or even pay down higher cost debt racked up since the pandemic began. I'll also be taking additional steps to help small businesses stay afloat during the pandemic. Sixth, we're going to continue to improve the care of those who do get COVID-19.
Are you?
In early July,
Why do you keep letting
I
him die?
announced the deployment of surge response teams.
Surge.
These are teams comprised of experts from the Department of Health and Human Services, the CDC, the Defense Department, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to areas in the country
Not the FEMA.
that need help to stem the spread of COVID-19. Since then, the federal government has deployed nearly 1,000 staff, including doctors, nurses, paramedics, into 18 states. Today, I'm announcing that the Defense Department will double the number of military health teams that they'll deploy to help their fellow Americans in hospitals around the country.
Yes.
Additionally, we're increasing the
Send the
availability of
military
new
to every
medicines recommended
hospital.
by real doctors, not conspiracy theorists.
Oh, not the other
monoclonal
doctors.
antibody
Only the
treatments
real doctors.
have been shown to reduce the risk of hospitalization by up to 70% for unvaccinated people at risk of developing
Holy
severe
shit.
disease. We've already distributed 1.4 million courses of these treatments to save lives and reduce the strain on hospitals. Tonight, I'm announcing we will increase the average pace of shipment across the country of free monoclonal antibody treatments by another 50%. Before I close, let me say this. Communities of color are disproportionately impacted by this virus.
Why?
And as
Why?
we continue to battle COVID-19, we will ensure that equity
COVID-19 is
continues to
racist?
be at the center of our response. We'll ensure that everyone is reached. My first responsibility as president is to protect the American people and make sure we have enough vaccine for every American, including enough boosters for every American who's approved to get one. We also know this virus transcends borders. That's why even as we execute this plan at home,
Good thing
we
we have
need to
doctors
continue
without
fighting the
borders.
virus overseas. Continue
Why do
to be
we
the
have to do
arsenal of
that?
vaccines. We're proud to have donated nearly 140 million vaccines over 90 countries, more than all other countries combined, including Europe, China, and Russia combined.
Jenna.
That's
Hey, Joe,
American
how much
leadership
did
on
it
a global
cost?
stage.
How much did the
And that's just the
donation
beginning.
cost? What's the cost on
We've
the
also
donation?
now
How much
started to
per
ship another
vaccine
500
are you paying,
million
Joe? I would have
COVID
negotiated a better
vaccines,
deal, frankly.
Pfizer vaccines, purchased to donate to 100 lower-income countries in need of vaccines. And I'll be announcing additional steps to help the rest of the world later this month.
Remember the last time there was a concerted effort
As I
for
recently
health care in the
released,
black community and it killed
the
all
key
the black
parts of my
babies,
pandemic
destroyed the
preparedness
family?
plan
It's called Planned
so that
Parenthood.
America isn't
Worked
caught
great.
flat-footed with a new pandemic comes again,
Oh,
as it
Glenn.
will.
As it
Next
will.
month, I'm also going to release a plan in greater detail. So let me close with this. We've made so much progress during the past 7 months of this pandemic. The recent increases in vaccinations in August already are having an impact in some states where case counts are dropping in recent days. Even so, we remain at a critical moment, a critical time.
Did you catch where he said this will happen
We
at the
have
next
the
pandemic too?
tools.
That's going to come again. They're going to do
Now
it
we
again.
just have to finish the job with truth, with science, with confidence, and together as one nation. Look, we're the United States of America. There's nothing, not a single thing we're unable to do if we do it together. So let's stay together. God bless you all and all those who continue to serve on the front lines of this pandemic. and may God protect our troops. Get vaccinated.
Mr. President. There you go. That's dear leader. I hope you enjoyed it, because that's what we got from dear leader. That's who runs the show now. This is what we have to deal with. Did you catch the part where he said, this vaccination plan will be the plan for the next pandemic that is inevitable? Your freedom is dead. It's gone. It is dead. It died right on national television. I mean, it died a long time ago. We knew this at the beginning. The moment they started doing lockdowns and mask mandates and using government agents to prevent people from leaving their homes in Kentucky, that's where I was ringing the bell. Governor Bashir, I'm like, oh shit, he's sent cops with guns to force people to stay inside. And those people are like, we never even got tested for COVID. I was like, that's it. Your freedom was dead on that moment. And how appropriate that this massive curtailing of freedom comes just 2 days before one of the previous massive curtailings of your freedom, September 11th, 2001, the 20th anniversary. We're doubling down, baby. Patriot Act. Now the true Patriot Act is getting vaccinated by your real doctor, not your fake doctor who might disagree with the government, or not your fake doctor who might know your own personal health and determine that you have allergic responses to vaccines, or that you are a particularly at-risk person. Not those fake doctors, only real government-approved doctors. And they'll be sending government military healthcare teams to every hospital in the country to facilitate the treatment of people. Wait, what? What is this? When on earth? Imagine George Bush. We're out here. We're going to go ahead and send the military doctors into every hospital, implement the military doctorizing plan of the hospitalizing of America. Imagine Bush doing that. What would the CNN headline say? What would the MSNBC headline say if a Republican president sent a military health team to a private healthcare facility to deal with something in government-approved way, comrade? What would they say if that happened? And they will be lapping this up. They will be lapping this up. Oh, God, I have so many dirty ways to finish that sentence, and I won't. This is what they want. This is what they've been begging for. They are American Pravda. They are the propagandists. They are the sycophants of government action. That's what they demand and desire. Control me harder, daddy. Control me harder, daddy. That's what they want. It's disgusting to me. And it will be done with full applause from the complicit celebrity cast. Why? Because the complicit celebrity cast, the woke Hollywood, the woke daytime television production teams in LA and New York, well, one, it complies with their politics. Two, they must remain the arbiters of proper behavior, the arbiters of morality. People seem to forget that morality is simply correct behavior under a rule structure. I call it under an ethical set, but if you don't like that definition, some people don't. Right behavior is morality. People always limit the idea of legislating or dictating morality to religious issues, but that has nothing to do with morality except when it's your religion. There's a moral code under Satanism, but I don't follow it. I'm not a Satanist. There's a moral code under Islam. Just look, it's called rape the gay men to prove they're not gay, right? Like that is the moral code of Islam in Afghanistan. And rape in Afghanistan right now is a moral behavior. If you are raping the gay man to punish him for being gay, of course, that caveats. Whoa, I better put that out there. I wouldn't want to besmirch the good name of the Taliban and say that all rape is good. They're not okay with all rape, just particularly important rapes that need to happen. But understand that that's what morality is. What they're doing. Everybody who's pulling this bullshit about abortions or about whatever, oh, we don't want to legislate morality. We don't want the government choosing. The government is imposing morality on you right now. It's just the government's rule set. The right behavior, the moral behavior today is to get vaccinated because the government's rule is get vaccinated. That's it. Now, some people believe in the silly notion of objective morality, that there is some higher truth, be it God, be it nature, be it mathematics or whatever, that says that there is a specific rule that is universal, even if not everyone recognizes it. Those people are silly and old-fashioned because the government of today is the arbiter of morality. They are your God. And if you haven't figured that out, why do you think the vaccine is free? Why do you think testing will be free? Government is your God. Only government can protect you from the virus. Your doctor can't do it. He's not a real doctor. Your ivermectin can't do it. That's not a real medication. Simply having good health can't do it. That's not real. Government is God. Government's been God to minorities for what? 80 years now? We're working on 80 years of government being minorities' God. 60s to today. So that's what they were implementing in the 60s. I know they partnered with the civil rights movement to make it look just, but they wanted to become the God of minorities. And what are they doing? Focusing their efforts on minority communities. It's almost like minority communities don't actually trust the government, and maybe that's why there's low vaccination rates amongst them. But don't worry, never fear. Government will come in. Soon, that vaccine's going to be required to get your welfare check. It's not here yet, but it's going to come. You can't put purchase requirements on welfare. That's unjust. That's a bridge too far to say you have to buy food with your EBT card. You have to buy food and not like liquor. That's unjust. But what won't be unjust is a vaccine mandate. Because government is your God now. I hate that about government. I hate that they have so effectively co-opted minority communities. By the way, like minority communities used to be based and red-pilled. Biggest opposition to Proposition 8 in California came from the African-American community in California. They're like, miss me with that gay shit. Like, these communities used to have traditional values. Those values have been eroded and eradicated by government godhood, government deification of themselves. And it's awful. It is awful. It's awful what they have done. And what they... And Drexel is fond of saying, blacks are the test case. They've been doing it to the black communities. It's coming. It's coming for the Jews. It's coming for the Asians. It's coming for the Huites. It's coming for the Mexicanos. It's coming for even the Canadians. You're going to get, you're like, finally. My anus was sore from all that Trudeauing I was getting up in Canada, and I made it to the land of the free in America, and it's going to be like, oh, no. No, Canadians, you're done. You're done. You're gone. And they'll have to just go back to taking it. I mean, as will we all, of course. It's a matter of time before the jab is mandatory for everything that you do. I'm fundamentally shocked that he did not mandate a vaccine for travel. I am why didn't he? For all of that, for all of Joe Biden's profession of strength that happened just there, we're doing great, best economy ever. I mean, try and get a cup of coffee and tell me it's the best economy ever. But that being said, best economy ever. We've got all these vaccines coming. We're gonna eradicate this virus. Why didn't he mandate it for travel? He has absolute authority over the TSA. Mandating masks. Why didn't he mandate the vaccine? Because for all of that profession, that protestation of strength, it's just not popular, and they're scared. They're scared. Breck, I know Congress is trying to do it. I don't know that they'll be able to get that one passed. Hopefully there'll be a mansion with a spine, right? But you know the point of the no-fly list for the jab is to take the guns of the people who don't get the jab. That's the real grift, by the way, that's going on in Congress right now. There are 2 bills running concurrently. One is if you don't have a jab, you go on the no-fly list. Like, you go on the list, you can't fly. The second bill is if you're on the list, if you're on the no-fly list, you don't get to have guns because you're a danger to the community. That's coming. That's coming. That's what they're trying to push through Congress. Comrades. Might as well be. Might as well be comrades. That's what they're going to do. That's how they're going to mandate the jab to the right. Attach it to the guns. Totally unconstitutional. We'll see. It's constitutional until the Supreme Court says otherwise, right? Because enumerated rights don't matter. We've learned that in recent weeks. If you've been following along with this show, like actually written down rights, those don't matter. The made-up rights matter more. They're just they're just as strong, if not stronger. We've heard that from various voices lately that is a thing. So, shall not be infringed. Yeah, just like your right to free expression, like your expression not to wear a mask. Your right to peaceably assemble, your right to peaceably assemble without masks or vaccines, it's gone. It's gone. Government will mandate it. The government is not allowed to attach coercive measures to mandates and try to pass them off as non-mandates, right? Like a coercive measure is some sort of action the government can attach to a requirement to make it, well, you know, we're not mandating people go get vaccinated just if you want to get paid. I think that's a coercive measure. I do. But the government doesn't think so, and the courts probably won't recognize it. Even though the courts have a rule that says that the government cannot take a coercive measure to force someone to do something against their will or to force a state to implement a law against its desires of its populace, they allow them to do it all the time. And that'll be okay. That'll be okay. It's amazing. Do you remember what happened anytime Trump tried anything? Federal judge struck down the entire thing across the whole nation for effectively like 18 months until an appeals court would overturn it. And they did several times. Several times, especially on immigration measures. The appeals court would overturn it. But a federal judge, one federal judge, just one, would go ahead and overturn it. Where's the one federal judge on all of this stuff? Where's the one federal judge who would protect your rights? The one who would say, you know what? The government mandating all of these vaccines seems coercive, seems like an abuse of the First Amendment, seems like an infringement on your Ninth Amendment right to bodily autonomy. Remember that one? Remember your Ninth Amendment right to bodily autonomy, right? The thing that women use to get abortions. You don't have that. And when people get so mad at me for saying that right is a fiction, it's manufactured, and it only exists for women who want to murder a fetus. That's the only time your right to autonomy exists. And as proof, there's a fucking president who just mandated the jab. What if the president mandated that every federal employee who's a woman or whatever could not have an abortion? It would be struck down yesterday. Yesterday. That would be out of the question. No way could a president mandate that every federal employee be disallowed from having an abortion. There's no way to do it. And yet, we will accept that a president can mandate that every federal employee, every federal contractor, you're not even an employee, has to have a vaccine. If a president said every federal contractor is disallowed from having an abortion, oh my God, we would have blood in the streets over that proclamation. And yet, there it is. What right to bodily autonomy? I challenge every other lawyer who wants to call out this fictitious right as some sacrosanct thing. And I want to just point out that it doesn't exist. It is a legal fiction. It's been a legal fiction from the start. It's a made-up rule that applies to a limited subset of people and no one else. You know, maybe if the right to bodily autonomy extended to every person who is alive instead of just a temporary subset of women, maybe some people on the right wouldn't have as big of a problem with it. Maybe some people who advocate for freedom wouldn't have as big of a... Because if it's a liberty, I want it, but it isn't one. It's never been one. It's never been one, and it never will be, because they don't care about you. They care about killing babies. That's the reality of this. It's always been the reality of it. You can be pro-choice. I actually have no problem with people who are pro-choice. None at all. It is a reasonable position to have for all sorts of reasons. I will personally disagree with it, but that's okay. Personally disagree with a lot of stuff that you do, and I hope to God you disagree with pretty much everything that I do. That's fine. We can still drink and have a good time. But the reality is, it's not a real right because you don't have it. And that's what bothers me about it. That's what bothers me about it. Okay, we've got a bunch of super chats to go through. I will attempt to answer any questions that are here. I may go off on another rant. I don't know, a little pissed off about this. A little pissed off, but I'm shocked that there's no there's no vaccine mandate for a plane flight. I cannot believe they didn't do that. I'm dumbfounded, except for the fact that they know that mandating it is terrifying for most people still who are unvaccinated. The one thing they need to do to get rid of the unvaccinated population, besides just killing them like appropriate, the one thing they need to do to gain the public trust for the vaccine, if they can, for the people that they can still do it, is to stop doubling down. That's it. That's it. Like that, if they hadn't doubled down and shamed and berated and threatened, half the country originally, they'd have better results today. I don't think they can get it back. I don't think they can get it back. I mean, they'll get some more people to just say, you know what? These mandates and stuff, they're wrong. We failed. We failed liberty. We failed the founders' intent for this country. We failed all of these things. We understand that. We're backing off the mandates. We're backing off the requirements. We want people to get the vaccine. We've made that clear over the past several months. We want people to get vaccinated because we care about public health and we think it's the right thing to do. But forced compliance is not the right thing to do. And so we're going to keep the programs that make it free. We're going to keep the availability up. We're going to keep doing what we can to promote it, but we're going to take away the restrictions. We're going to take away the shame. We're going to undo creating a subclass of American citizens, because that's what he did today. Listen to how he described the unvaccinated. Do you think you're an equal citizen with your vaccinated neighbor right now in the federal government's eyes? I guarantee you, you are not. They may as well have put a gold star on your shirt. And it's coming. It's coming in some way or another. Either a piece of paper that you have to carry around, papers, please, or whatever. It is coming. Because they are, at their hearts, tyrants. They do not believe in liberty. They never have. This is not just the left. It's just the left now, by the way. It's also the right on other issues. I know I don't do apologetics enough for the both sides meme or whatever. The right has been horrible on freedom in several instances in the past. Yes, I get it. Okay, now you can fucking get out of my YouTube comments with that boring noise. We got it. They're not perfect. They never have been. Right now, the problem is the left. That's the problem for freedom. And when the pendulum swings the other way and the right is the problem, we'll call them out too. But for now, let's focus on the fucking problem. And that is the left and its tyrannical implementation of these policies. The ones that you expect in a Russia, in a Germany, in Scandinavian countries, right, where your freedoms are just pretend. The ones that you expect to read in a Guardian article praising the UK government for implementing things. The one you expect to see from fake countries like Australia, the toughest country on earth, except, you know, for the whole thing where they just gave up completely all their rights to the government. You know, that's where you expect to see this shit. And yet we've got it here in the US. All right. Super Iron Bob says, remember when it was get it so that you can protect those who can't? As a member of the latter group, I can tell you it's quickly become, hey, dude, please get in the grave now, please. Oh, people who can't get the virus are the biggest enemy of the state right now. Or who can't get the vaccine. Did I Freudian slip? Did I Freudian slip that one? People who can't get the vaccine are the biggest enemy of the state right now because they're the biggest compelling argument against the mandates. Joe made the argument himself, by the way. He's like, parents with kids, no amount of risk is too low. Yeah, Joe, have you considered for just a moment that's maybe why they don't want to get the shot? Like, they're like, wait, I don't know what this will do to my child. I don't know what this will do to me. What if, hypothetically speaking, here's a parent's fear. I can stay inside. I can take precautions. I can mask or whatever. I can do whatever precautions I'm going to take to protect me and my kids. Or I can get a vaccine with a really low risk statistically, but still a risk that I'll die from the side effects. I know I'm not dying from a side effect of something I don't have. But if I die, what does that do for my kids? Is it possible, theoretically, in your hypothetical where no amount of risk is too low, that a parent thinks that? Of course they do. Of course they think that. Because they're parents. worried about their kids. They're thinking through just about everything. And some of them have come to a different conclusion. And the most amazing thing is how dissent is not allowed on this issue. From the President of the United States, dissent from learned professionals, by the way, whose job it is to monitor your health care. Dissent amongst them makes them not real. From the President of the United States. Holy shit. Think about that. I can't think of a recent event where a president has decided that a doctor with a learned opinion, where the president, by the way, is not a doctor. I don't know if you know it. I mean, he's familiar with doctors, maybe. He just can't remember seeing any of them. But he's not a doctor. And his wife is some sort of doctor. I don't think, is she a medical doctor? What even is Jill Biden a doctor of? Sniffology, Jill Biden. What is her? Fucking hell. Okay, she is a what? She's a doctor of education? Or is she even a doctor? Yeah, doctor of education. Oh, who fucking cares then? So yeah, okay, just wanted to clear that up. Education degrees. Sorry to all of you people out there with education degrees. Woo-hoo-hoo. I hope you have other work lined up. But anyway, he's not a doctor, but he just called medical professionals not real. Based on what? Opinion and politics. Opinion and politics. By the way, I'm also a doctor. I'm a doctor of law and of love. But yeah, I have a Juris Doctor, so I'm as much of a doctor on this issue as Jill Biden, which means I'm more of a doctor on this issue than Joe Biden. Created a subclass of people today. Fenrir Lyko says, here's $20 to keep out of my new Half Dome Ridge wallet that I got using promo code NOSE. That's ridge.com/NOSE. Oh, damn. A super chat promotion of Ridge. Fenrir must like it. Ridge wallets, they're cool. I'm not doing an ad today, but I like them. We'll do another ad soon. Intimidator0108 says, hey, Nick, hope your headache is doing better from yesterday. It is. Just hopped on while on my way home from work to hear your lovely voice insult and make fun of that fraud in office. Hope karma one day finds him as well as Dr. Fauci. G-Man says, hey, Nick, I work for the federal government and recently became outspoken pushing back on the vax mandate in work meetings. Not sure if I'll need one, but do you know a good lawyer for this issue in the central North Carolina region? Oh, God, I know the one lawyer you don't want on the issue, and that is Greg Doucette. Not that one. How's that? As for other North Carolina lawyers, I don't off the top of my head, but I can ask for recommendations. If you email me, I'll reach out to my network and see if anybody knows any North Carolina lawyers who would be able to take on the federal government. Happy to reach into the network and see if there's an answer for you. Alan Scharer says, freedom! Always. Absolutely. Absolutely. Always. It's always freedom. It is always. That is the one truth of America. That is the fundamental tenet. It is the core value of America. Like, think about everything you learned about this country in your entire life. And it was always, at least for me, and I had a public education. Always for me, it was America stands for freedom and liberty. We are the land of the free. And Biden says it's not about your freedom. It's always, always, always about your freedom, or else you live in tyranny. There is no gray area where you're kind of free. It doesn't exist. Freedom is either maximized or it's gone. And so many people right now have forgotten it. So many people have just said it doesn't matter. Everything you have is because of that. Everything. Your car, your bookshelf, your fucking pencil, everything you have. Electricity exists because of freedom. You gonna tell me some Euro cuck was gonna come along and invent no, fuck you. Fuck you. They would be regulated out. What about the candle makers? Always someone to worry about. Always. Freedom is the root of everything. And the places where an invention or a revolution popped up that freedom didn't exist, there was just a lapse in tyranny for a moment. That's it. And trust me, that lapse in tyranny was quickly corrected in every single instance. Look at Galileo. Look at Copernicus. Witchcraft! Put him in the tower forever. Go against the narrative. You invent something, you find something in a place that isn't free, they'll quickly correct the error that was letting you learn and discover. Ryan 1096 says, my friend works at the biggest hospital in Phoenix. He said only 11 beds were being used for COVID patients. Out of those 11, only a couple are in the ICU. Rest are just on oxygen. But hey, more mandates. Am I right? Look, they will take one hospital that gets a temporary boost in beds being taken for, like a little mini outbreak or whatever occurs, or a bunch of people get scared. And make no mistake, a lot of people going to these hospitals are going because they're scared because of what the media is reporting. Well, shit, I guess I better go to the hospital now. I guess I have to, right? I'm not besmirching that choice, right? If I got the COVID, I would probably go to a hospital too, because that's just what you do. But when you get a couple cases in a town and suddenly you get a couple more people, they're all going to go. Because that's how it works. The news has created an environment where people are going to flood the hospital. It's like a bank run. Bank runs don't happen because one person wants their money. Bank runs happen because one person wants their money and then everybody else goes, oh shit, I better get my money too. Hospital runs are the same. And then they take those isolated hospital runs and then they say, oh, well, unsustainable system. You can't do it. Of course they do. Because it serves their purpose. Yellow Flash 2 says, F you, Joe. I agree. Phil Collins from Vice City Stories. What? Says, I have an actual phobia of needles. It's awesome being discriminated against for mental health reasons. COVID laws are perfect and nothing could go wrong. Look, man, I don't have a phobia of needles, but it has taken me a lot to get over my apprehension around needles. What it's taken for me, actually, because I mean, don't puncture my perfect skin, you bigot. For what it's taken for me is I now have to get monthly fucking allergy shots. And prior to that, I'm not good. I'm not even good at having my blood drawn because they can stick the needle in, but the blood doesn't come. It's like my body is so apprehensive, it shuts it off. I just don't like it. I never have. I'm over it now, pretty much, because, well, I get fucking shots all the time. But, no, it's phobia of needles. Real thing. Real thing. Wild Deku says, reminder, the FDA has approved literally thousands of incredibly harmful substances. They approved Zantac. It caused cancer. After much more scrutiny than the vaccine. Their argument is always manipulative, never factual. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if the vaccine is good or bad. I know that they subverted the normal FDA process for the vaccine. And I know one thing most importantly is that if you don't trust the government saying that the government is right doesn't make you suddenly trust the government. Like if your whole apprehension for the vaccine has always been, yeah, I don't really trust the government. Like, so I'm not really sure that the vaccine is right for me. And then the government agency comes in, gets an exception, and then approves the government created drug from the government agency. The people who said, I'm not going to get this vaccine because I don't trust the government, aren't suddenly going to get it because they now trust the government checking itself. That will never happen. And the fact that they expect it to just shows how disconnected they are from the real issue. That the government sacrificed the public trust on the altar of power a long time ago. They were happy to do it. They burned their credibility. Like ugly women burning bras around the country. And all the guys are like, but now those don't look good anymore. Put the bras back on. Like that's what all the men were saying. And the women are like, no, this will be good for us. Well, how'd that work out? Oh, hi, it's Will says, hey, Nick, great show. Sleepy Joe is using COVID as an excuse to distract Americans from the disaster in Afghanistan. Oh, you think? You think so? Oh. Quick question. Are your parents vaccinated? I look, I don't want to talk about what other people in my life do, because again, I'm not an advocate for or against vaccination. I'm an advocate against government mandates, period. That's where I'm going to draw the line on that one. It's also that's not my story to tell, right? Like that's their healthcare. That's other people's healthcare. For me, I am not vaccinated. It's not like a principled stand against the vaccine. I don't know shit. I'm not a doctor. I don't care. And I'm not opposed to vaccines in general. But I am very wary of government mandates and opposed to them on principle. And so I have not seen it useful to get for me at this point in time. Ace Brain 2003 says, if vaxxed family members in a household protect kids under the age of 12, then the vaxxed adult population in the country protects the adults that are unvaxxed. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, he kind of just glossed over the fact that apparently, 75% of the country is vaccinated, according to Joe, which is some measure of herd immunity. And the crazy thing is, without the mandates, the vaccine rate that percentage will go up. It will continue to increase. That is the only, because more people will continue getting the vaccine. It's not like people are going to stop. Like the people who are going to get it aren't going to not get it because there's not a mandate. They'll keep getting vaccinated. They haven't gotten around to it for whatever reason. And 2, according to Joe, the unvaccinated will all just fucking die. And so if they all just die, then the percentage of vaccinated people will still go up. It has to work that way. Because if the breakthrough infection rate is so low and the deaths amongst the unvaccinated are the problem, it's a self-correcting percentage problem, and we will reach herd immunity, whatever that number is, will eventually, statistically, mathematically, necessarily reach 100% vaccination rates. It has to happen, according to Joe, because everybody who's not vaccinated will just do their service and die. That's it. This is just logic playing out in real time. I know it's very, very troubling to do for the government, but that's it. Okay, but Yellow Flash 2 says mask up for travel, unless, of course, you're on a private plane. Of course. God, don't you, Flash, don't you want to be just a little more elite? I'm so close to being able to afford a private plane. I'm so close. I don't actually know how much they cost, but I have to imagine that chartering a plane, because I remember I travel with 7, and buying a plane ticket for 7 gets pretty expensive. It can't be too many steps farther to charter a private plane or to do like one of those group charter share things or whatever. So like, don't you just want to get there? I just want to get there. I just want to get there so I can be a politician. Because if I'm a politician, I don't ever have to wear a mask on my planes. If I'm a politician, I get to make the rules up as I go. $2,500 an hour to charter a private plane on the low end. So if I want to take a plane from Minneapolis to Florida, what's $7,500? That's not so bad. I get to skip everything. I get to skip TSA. I get to skip the masks. I get to not be sitting next to some sweaty fatso or whatever. All right. That's not so bad. Huh. We'll see. I don't know, man. Unclassified name. Unclassified name says, sucks for me to lose my ICU, but really sucks for my community to lose 51% of their healthcare providers. Good luck. Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to force the doctors to get it? Doctors are a unique class of people because once the early doctorhood is, you got tons of student debt. You don't have a huge wage, but specialist doctors, long-term practitioners, they make good money. They're uniquely qualified to retire at an early age. That's been the problem. That was one of my big gripes with Obamacare was, what happens when the doctors don't comply? Do you hold a gun to their head and force them to work? And the answer is yes. They will have to. They will have to. Nurses are in a little bit of a different predicament because nurses don't make as much as doctors. They're not as uniquely situated to retire at an earlier age. So it's more coercive against nurses and hospital staff, like the logistical staff, the janitorial staff, the people who stock the OR rooms. Those people kind of get forgotten in the hospital staff thing. They work. They don't make millions of dollars. And to do this to them, to force that choice. I mean, I know people who work in hospitals, have worked in hospitals for 15, 20 years at, not terrible wages, but we're not talking about bank breaking wages here. They're just firmly in the middle class, right? Similar to nurses who are just in the middle class, and you're going to coerce them into making a choice or they don't get paid. Where can a nurse go? There are not many clinics and hospitals that don't take Medicare and Medicaid. Where's a backroom logistics technician, right? Who puts all the fucking who washes out the dishes, right? Like the bedpans and all the bloody sheets and all that shit. They wash those from the OR. They put like a gallon of bleach in a thing and they do that. Where are they going to go? They can't work in the industry anymore. There's not enough private facilities to take those things. And those private facilities that don't take Medicare and Medicaid. It's coercion. It's tyranny through economics. There's a different word for that. What is tyranny through economics called? Communism. And that's communism at the end of the day. that's how communism has been tried and failed at the end of the day is its coercion through economics. Mr. Security, you think I sit next to my wife on the plane? Oh my God. Not in the cheap seats, man, when they pick your, I mean, of course, ever since I started flying for business, which pretty much all of my flying is for business nowadays, ever since I started doing that, I started flying first class exclusively. So yes, I'm only sitting next to my wife. However, my trip to Seattle was not booked by me, and I was stupid, and I didn't upgrade my tickets, and so I flew coach, and I had to sit next to other people. Just disgusting. Disgusting. Oh God. Being around the commoners. Ew. Ew. Okay. Planet Tobor TV. But the amazing thing is when all of your travel is business deductible, you very quickly justify that first class ticket, even if you don't use any first class amenities. It's like, well, I just won't pay taxes on this money, and that's good. Yeah. I'd highly recommend it. Also, let me just do one thing. The TSA, and fuck the TSA, by the way. They can get jabbed. And I don't mean by the vaccine poke. You know what I mean? They have done one good thing in the past couple years. Just one. And that is TSA Clear. It is the greatest system in travel right now. If you fly one time, just once in an entire year, it is worth the price of TSA Clear. It is 100% worth it. No matter who one flight. TSA Clear. I will light the TSA on fire myself. I will burn them individually at the stake, the TSA top brass. I will hold the interrogator trials. I will use razors and remove their eyelids, and I will pour gasoline on their eyeballs to keep them awake and conscious. Whatever it takes. I will excoriate the TSA personally, but I'll still pay for TSA Clear because it is the best fucking system that they have come. They ruined airline travel and then bought back an inch with TSA Clear. Anyway, Planet Tober TV. I probably have to delete this video. Otherwise, it'll be like, whoa, we did that retinal scan, brother. You're going to jail. Planet Tober TV says, I make video games, and I am not requiring my employees, me, I guess, to get the jab. Check out Savage, the Shard of Gozin on Steam, 100% solo made, free, nutrient-rich demo. Take some zinc and axe bad guys in the face. What the hell is Savage, the Shard of Gozin? Planet Tobor TV. Hit me up an email, man. Tell me about your game. Heel versus Babyface says, help us, Japan. You're our only waifu hope. Oh, no. Oh, no. The Great Loner. The Great Loner says, keep spitting that truth fire, Nick. I'll try, man, as long as I can. As long as I can. Mithrin Emrys says, you must show your vaccine papers. If you want to go to work, go to a show, or do anything except vote, because showing your papers to vote is racist or something. I don't know what accent that was. That's how Mithrin Emrys talks. I have it on good authority. No, you're right. Again, apply this to anything else. Oh, you want to go to work? Well, you better be vaccinated. Vote? Oh, you don't even need an ID for that. KCC says, what if during periods of mass arrests, people had understood they had nothing to lose and had bodily set up in the downstairs hall an ambush of half a dozen people? Alexander Solzhenitsyn I don't know how to Solzhenitsyn. I don't know how to pronounce that. But no, that's the thing, right? France is learning it. Australia learned it. America is I guess behind right now. America's behind. There's way more of us than them. There's way more of us than them. Did you guys see? I saw this video the other day. It was amazing. There was a guy who ran onto a soccer field, right? As people are wont to do. They run onto the soccer field, they get chased down, they get tackled, they get escorted out. You know, maybe they're naked, maybe they're not. But in this particular one, 5 cops tackle this guy, and one of them takes his nightstick and he's just jabbing the guy with the nightstick. He's just beating on him, right? All this sudden, the entire fucking crowd storms the field, and a guy actually Spartan kicks one of the cops right off the guy. Just bam! The other cops get taken and split up, which is horrifying for them. Some of them are getting kicked and stomped on and shoved around. They got separated and demolished because there were 6 people, 6 cops or 5 cops or however many it was. But there's like 1,000 people who are like, hey, you're supposed to just tackle him and take him off the field because he's a goofball. It's just some idiot running on a soccer field. I don't know how old it is. I saw it the other day. It's just some jackass running on a soccer field. What happened to us? Like, we're all okay. The social construct or the contract is that the cops, yeah, they take the guy, they tackle him. They're like, hey, you dummy. Ha ha ha. You're going to be on TV, you idiot. He gets banned from the stadium for a year or whatever because he's not going to go to the stadium in the next year. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just a stunt. No one was hurt. No one cares. But this cop decided to start pounding on the guy. And then, all of a sudden, it gets turned the fuck around. In France, we saw this. I tweeted one of the videos from the French mall the other day where protesters showed up at a French mall. They were trying to shop unmasked. And cops show up and they start just beating on this woman with nightsticks. Just beating on her. But did you see what happened later? When the cops had to retreat, because there's like 1,000 people, cops had to retreat up the escalator with their shields and their fucking sticks, and they backed off because there's only like 20 of them. What happened to us? What happened to us when tyranny is allowed to rear its head and we all just stop? We were the country that went to war over a 2% tax on one product. We went to war with the biggest country, the greatest superpower that the world had known to that point. The sun never set on the British Empire because it was so big. It's always sunny in British Delphia or whatever. And we said, 2% tax? Fuck you. We'll fight you. And now we're like, please, don't just vax me, but vax me forcefully. Give it to me, government. What happened? What happened? Perihelion says, stop, the black pill is too big. It's not a black pill. It's not a black pill. We're not lost. We're not over. We're just confused. We're just confused. Like I said, France is waking. If the French are waking up, if the Aussies are waking up, the Aussies gave their guns to the government. They're like, please take them. They gave it up. They've been protesting in the streets for days, and the Australian government backed down. They backed down. They stopped. They said, well, Our current plan is untenable. You think? If they can start waking up, I think America can too. I think we can too. KCC said, Yazoogle says in Biden voice, and we were victorious in Afghanistan, man. Afghanistan is such a cluster, by the way. Did you see they implemented the new Taliban or the transition government is all like hardcore Talibani militants. They're like, women will not play sports. You're done. They're done. You're done. You're done. And the U.S. government's like, we just hope the Taliban will do enough so we can send them billions of dollars. That's what the U.S. government is doing right now with the Taliban. They just want the Taliban to do enough to give them permission to send billions of dollars. Like, they just want to do it. Like, please let us send these money to tyrants. We have to do it. Because our foreign policy is so fucking backwards. We're so broken as a government. Republicans are high on the list on this one too, by the way. That we just must send American tax dollars overseas at such a high rate that we're just begging them to, like, please just don't kill too many women. Like, just don't kill too many of them so we can please give you money. That's what we have to do. We just gotta, because the government was the first virtue signaler. The American government is the king simp. The king simp. And they're simping for ugly men with rags on their heads. They're fucking, they're simping for, to quote Walter, a bunch of camel. Like, they're out here just simping as hard as they can because they were the first and biggest simps. The American government is trillions of dollars in simpery. They don't know what to do without giving money to other governments. Like, oh God, there's a tyrant. Thank the Lord. Here, the people are going to be in dire straits, so we can give the tyrant the money now, pretending it goes to the people. We're going to send a bunch of money to Afghanistan, and the Taliban will take it, and they'll use it to maintain all of the fucking military equipment we left them. It's great. And Biden will be like, no, they're making good progress. We only executed the 8th women today. This morning. 9, 11. That was a double. They were twins. Whoa, hot. That's how it's going to go. That's how it's going to go. Davisar says, PooTube won't let me share the quote, but Hans Hermann Hoppe has the right idea on Democrats and communists. I'm not familiar. Very interested, but I'm not going to say it. Ricky Green says, thanks for streaming this raggets. I medically can't, and I'm a dad of 4 young kids and with 2 who also can't. We are already treated differently by friends and neighbors. The government has created a subclass of people. And shockingly, this is why democracy is bullshit. Always has been, always will be. The only system that may be worse than communism is democracy. Because the 75% vaccinated class will impose any amount of restrictions on the 25% minority. Because what do they risk or lose? What do they risk or lose? You are a second-class citizen. They look at you. The vaccinated class in America looks at the unvaccinated class like the Democrats look at a black man in a hoodie. Holy shit, they're terrified of you. And they hate you. There is no more disdainful segment of the country right now. And the government is fomenting the divide. They want it to go from 25% to 10%. You know why they want it to be 10%? They can do whatever they want to you. Once you get under 10% minority, you have no political power. None. Even if every single one of you stands up, you will be snuffed out. They want to create this class. And what they're doing to the unvaccinated is offensive to Western society. We moved beyond this. We created a republic for this reason. Not a democracy. Because democracies died in Athens with a bunch of raped little boys. The denialist says, just got home. What the fuck did I miss? A lot. A lot. Check Twitter. Oh, God. What? Flash, what happened? Did I get banned? Oh, no.
Because
This is a good one. This is a good one. We'll play it real quick. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let me put on my headphones. Here we go.
because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded because
It's true, though. It's true. It's one of the most true and honest clips on the internet. Oh, my God. Jospy says, I believe Biden cares about your children about as far as he can sniff them. Also been a while since I gave some commie bucks. Cheers. I don't know what is rejectionable about my comment. Me either. But all of it. All of it is rejectionable. Silver coins go clink, clink. Says at some point we're going to have to relearn what it means to go through with the threat of violence against the government. I'm not advocating that very clearly, even though I'm advocating for violence. No, that's the chatter, not me. And look, I'm not looking forward to it. No, that's the worst part. And it's why I always advocate against violence. I'm horrified by the prospect of it. I am horrified that our government is taking us to it. We have been through so much since 1865. We have been through a lot of fucking nasty, ugly fights since 1865 without violence. And to think that our government is dragging us head over Kamala heels. Wait, no, she's heels over head. Heels over Kamala head Harris. The government is dragging us like Kamala in bondage to a violent conflict is horrifying to me. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my grandkids. I want to grow up in the peace. I want them to grow up in the peace that I grew up in, where all the wars were distant. That's what I want. I'm terrified of what is coming. My locals is down? Is all locals down? No, it's up. It's up. I just checked. Refresh. I'm terrified of what's coming. He says, I'm not looking forward to it. This won't end well, even if the right people win. No, that's the problem with civil wars, right? Oh, so to talk about that briefly, you guys, I assume saw the big news of the day that the Robert E. Lee statue was taken down, right? to thunderous applause and all of that stuff. Robert E. Lee wasn't the biggest fan of slavery. Yes, I know. Robert E. Lee had some unkind words in 2021 parlance to say about the African Americans and Africans in general. Remembering that Robert E. Lee was speaking in 1860, his take is actually not that bad for the present time that he was speaking. Presentism, or the historian's fallacy, is one of the biggest fucking problems with Twitter and all other mediums right now. But you can find much worse takes than Robert E. Lee on slavery and the African race coming in the contemporary timeline that he was in. But that being said, not a huge fan of slavery in general was Robert E. Lee, but he fought for the South because that's where he lived. That's where he lived. That was his loyalty. And also, everybody likes to go ahead and forget one really important thing. You know who wanted Robert E. Lee? The North. The North tried to recruit Robert E. Lee because the North wanted a competent military leader on their side. Because the North, Robert E. Lee's take was a cold take in the North. His take on the African, we're taking the fucking present day thoughts on race relations and applying them to the North of 1860. The North of 1860 didn't like black people. They just didn't like that the slave states had free labor. It's not like they're like, yes, come to New York. They're like, oh God, I hope they go to one of those Western territories that no one wants to live in that will kill them. That's how the North thought about blacks in 1860. We're out here pretending that the North was a bunch of 1990 liberals talking about black civil rights. What the fuck pretend land do we live in? Nobody, not a single Northern icon with a statue had a better take than Robert E. Lee on the African race in 1860. What the fuck kind of pretend world are we in now, where we get to read back onto history that which didn't happen? They believed in no, Sin, you're wrong. They believed in slavery. They didn't have an industry that would benefit from it in the North, because they didn't have the same land sizes and plantations and growing seasons that they had in the South. You couldn't do slavery in the textile mills in the North because the Jews were already basically working as slaves in that field, but they were slaves to other Jews. Like that's just how it went. And the Irish, let's not forget that. The Irish were already populating the coal mines. They didn't have room for slavery in the North. It's not that they didn't like slavery. They would have done it if they could. They would have been happy to do it. They just didn't have the right economic platform for it. Darny77 says, Si vis pacem parabellum. I don't know what that means, but it's Latin, so it's wise. Probably shouldn't say that. I don't know what it means. Oh, no. Okay. All right, we got some more to read here. Go away. Monthly tips on stream. The Pie Baker says, Boomer, Eurocucks, and Fedestralia went to bed sooner than the US. That's why they're waking up before us. Touche. The legendary Jay says, in less infuriating news, please shill my book about alien cat girls when Death Worlders chat. I think that's the book, When Death Worlders Chat. It's about alien cat girls. You can also find him at u/thelegendaryj on Reddit. So maybe there's some info there. If you guys are interested in alien cat girl books, first of all, Gitsy Gas. Second of all, give him a check out on that book. Yashkin says, hey, Nick, how's it going there, man? You gotta love the liars calling everyone else liars by this new technical term, misinformation. I'm not looking forward for my state, Michigan, and our governor, Dictator Whitmer. I'm not taking this shot because I don't need it. You know, it's amazing that the new civil liberty is to be mandated what to do by government. And people are okay with it. They're okay with it. Fuentes would not love that book. Fuentes loves cat boys. Come on. Come on now. Let's get with the program. It is 1984. It is the doublespeak. It is the reversal of truth. They've just inverted it and they've said it loud enough. No, freedom is mandatory vaccination. How on earth can that possibly be free? Mike DeWine Shit-Eating Grin says, forced vaccination in schools ran by the Defense Department. So all our military schools are going to filtered even more and super indoctrinated, rip and dilate the military even more. Yeah. Yashken says, whenever the government says something is free, it only costs a bit of your freedom. Fuck this guy. He says he's done waiting, so now it's time to force you to do as you're told. Fuck this man and anyone who wants to get rid of your choice. Yes, I said it. I said it when Biden said the bit about free. Remember the thing about social media, right? If the product is free, then you're the product. If the vaccine is free, then you're the product. I don't know exactly what that means. Like, I don't know how you're the product, but you are. You are. I mean, if nothing else, it's the government creating a class divide, right? Like that's the basic one. The government creating a class divide. The people divided against itself will never be able to overcome a government. So that's one of the goals. The other is just your government is your God. It must be your God. God has no place in your life, nor does science. They pretend science, right? But it's not actually science. It's government diktat by scientists. There's a difference. Your God must be the government. You cannot rely on science, rationality, philosophy, Christianity, anything, Judaism. There is no ethos but government. None but government. Global warming is only an acceptable ethos because the government accepts it. Vaccination is the acceptable ethos because the government accepts it. So I'm not fully sure what the product is other than class divide and government as God. But I think there's probably something else there too. Silky Johnson says, boy, watching hair-sniffing pedo smooth brain Joe push the propaganda is like watching a CNN segment. Everything he said is a lie. How is trying to create a two-tier society illegal? I thought segregation was illegal, and is there potential 14th Amendment violations? Interestingly enough, I did tweet about 14th Amendment. Is there a 14th Amendment violation? Maybe. Under the original understanding of the 14th Amendment? No, but we got rid of that a long time ago. At some point, when you become a lower class citizen and a minority, you should be a protected class. Will the 14th Amendment apply? Only if the Supreme Court recognizes it. Silver Coins Go Clink Clink says, last super chat was dark. So I wanted to say, I recently saw Blazing Saddles. They did racism right. Ners. Chinex and The Chosen are all right, but screw the Irish. Yes. Oh, God. No, Blazing Saddles is basically modern prophecy. It's beautiful. Yashken says, remember, my body, my choice. That only applies to pregnant women, some men, and only when it comes to killing the unborn fuck of these hypothetical people. Yep, that's it. Alex Ghost says, just wait till being unpoked is called abuse and they take away people's kids. It's coming. It's coming. They're already trying it. They tried it in Cook County, right? In Cook County, a judge tried to do that, walked it back, but it's just the test case. It's just the first one. More of that is coming. This will only escalate. This isn't left versus right. This is protecting everyone's freedom. A lot of the unvaccinated are liberals in liberal cities. That's the worst vaccination rates are in liberal metro areas. Because, again, it's almost like black populations don't trust the government. I can't think of why. Jim Crow was law. Jim Crow wasn't some idea that people came up with. Well, I mean, I guess it was. And then they codified it into law. The government implemented Jim Crow. Why do we think that blacks maybe don't trust the government? Silky Johnson says, Nick, since you don't want a painting of whiskey bottles when you have court, you must by any means commission a painting of Kool-Aid Man with a switchblade meth and him banging legless whores and with you in the background filming the debauchery. That sounds like a good idea. I'll definitely have that done so I can have that in the background of court. That'd be wonderful and help my clients. Stug says, go on Sitch and Adam or get them on your show. Is that Adam friended? Is that the Adam from Sitch and Adam? I don't actually know. Mean Sarton says Biden will accidentally mandate ice cream vaccines. Probably. Stephen Cooper says at least you had the decency to not show up in a tie. Now, I wore my tie earlier today, and that was enough for me. 2012 Jameson says we need a law that denies all federal benefits to anyone who is part of leaving Americans behind enemy lines. Yes, includes Army generals. Yes, it's Adam friended. I would talk to them. I'd talk to them. I don't know if Sitch would like me so much, but Adam follows me on Twitter. I'd happily just need a subject. Jamie Moodley says Josh and Birch stream when? Working on it. Working on things like that. Wolfgang Villarreal says, just left torts class. Judge Andrews from the Palgraf case is an idiot. Be gentle. I'm only a 1L. Well, I'm glad you're a 1L because I don't remember the Palgraf case off the top of my head. What case is that? Let's see. Palgraf. Oh, Palsgraf versus Long Island Railroad. Holy shit. What was this? Liability to an unforeseeable plaintiff. Is this the banana peel? No. 2 men attempted to board the train before hers. One, aided by railroad employees, dropped a package that exploded, causing a large coin-operated scale on the platform to hit her. After the incident, she began to stammer and subsequently sued the railroad, arguing that its employees had been negligent while assisting the man and that she had been harmed by the neglect. Let's see. Okay, so, he wrote proximate cause. Oh, God. Yeah. List of factors the courts might consider, such as remoteness. Yeah, I'd have to read his full opinion. I'm not going to do that right now, but yeah, very fun. Very fun. It's the surprise dynamite proximate cause case. No proximate cause. Yeah, because there was no foreseeability for this lady to get hit by a thing, right? Like that's the idea behind that. Let's see. Elliot Walker says, ever cover Phil's WWE champions lies to the court? I mean, I did when I covered his bankruptcy stuff, but you know, the problem with Phil's bankruptcy was that the trustee didn't really investigate stuff, and the creditors didn't really either. They just decided not to. They took the L. It cost more to go after it, so they just let it go. So there you go. Phil got a nice pass on that. Flatly lying about where all the money. He lied about the amount of money that he was making. I mean, it was amazing. Amazing. And his business expenses, again, I can't find out where Phil would have $5,000 a month in business expenses that he used to justify his basically zero income. It was great. And they never investigated. They're like, wait, what about an internet connection cost you $5,000 a month in business expenses? Comic Nut 64 says, don't quote me on this, but apparently Biden is always late because the Alzheimer's meds cause diarrhea. Well, he got his butt wiped. Dave Bear says, if protests ensue, get ready for the media to be concerned about right-wing violence despite cheering left-wing violence on all of 2020. Oh, of course. Of course. Skurzik Skurzo says, apparently they're going to fine employees up to $14,000. Yes, $14,000 if they refuse to get vaxxed or tested weekly. I smell lucrative times for lawyers. Maybe. I mean, I know someone where they work $200 a month was what they were at before. This is a private employer. Okay, you don't want to get the vaccine? Fine. Pay cut of $200 a month. Like, well, or maybe it was a paycheck. It was one of those two. But either way, how does that protect people? Dragon Fist 900 says, hey, Nick, prayers would be appreciated, but he got some bad health news. I have low HDL. The good news is no diabetes. Hey, man, will do. We'll pray for you on that one. Hopefully you can get that good cholesterol up and get the bad cholesterol down. Joshua Vidrine says, if the feds want to take more of my freedoms, I hope they realize, one, they'll have to catch me to stop me, and two, I have enough vegetable oil to grease up a grizzly. Grimm's Bar says, Biden just said minorities cause a lot of damage. Legendary J says, protects against severe illness is a weird way to spell, does not confer immunity. Yeah, again, I can't remember any breakthrough polio cases or breakthrough tuberculosis cases, breakthrough measles cases even. Don't really. Rubella. They don't have breakthrough cases on other vaccines. By the way, I did take a 1,500 shot, and here's my 2,000 shot. We'll do it in 2 sips because I'm not in a shot mood, but Mario Carter 13 says, debunks horse dewormer on horse tranquilizers. He's on horse tranquilizers, yes. Scott Big Johnson says, is Hunter vaccinated? Look, I think Hunter might have just taken the Keith Richards approach, which is do enough drugs and bang enough underage whores that you go ahead and are immune to everything. T4GOE says, what the fuck is a Vozhd? It was a title that Stalin had. It was a title of Stalin. That's why I picked it. Skirzik Skirzo says, this is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about blind obedience to the government. John Stern says, we're going to blame all our problems on a minority of people. Where have I heard that one before? Hyderp says, I love the dog whistle 80 million. We know who the 80 million people are. Next, he says, Joe's clenched teeth is high doses of stimulants. Mario Carter says, my favorite part of the jab is when they promote it by debunking herd immunity. You need the jab even if you recovered from the virus. Let's see. John, long last name, wishes he was Napoleonic law trained. I need help down in Louisiana. I don't know what you need help with, but I know that I know a licensed attorney in Louisiana is Attorney Tom. And if his office isn't able to help you with your issue, he might have a recommendation for you. If you need help, by the way, I should say this. Attorney Tom's office is handling insurance claims for Hurricane Ida in Louisiana. There are really, Louisiana has some pretty specific laws on how insurance companies need to handle hurricane claims. And if they're trying to bone you or someone you know is having issues with their insurer, contact Attorney Tom's office. They handle Louisiana insurance stuff, and they may be able to help you. And if they can't help you, they'll gladly, I'm sure, refer you to someone who can. If your claim doesn't fit their practice area, for example, they may know someone who does. But if you know, if you need help down in Louisiana, especially related to the hurricane, Attorney Tom, talk to him, man. Talk to him. Midnight Green 20 says, Joe is only doing this because numerous lawsuits have come in and are beating the mandates. I'm not so sure on that, but I also haven't been reading about it that much. We'll see how that all plays out. My Room Record says Pfizer isn't mandating their employees to get jabbed. Yeah, you didn't hear Joe mandating that from the manufacturers of the vaccine, did you? But I guess technically they're going to do business with the government. You got to wonder if Pfizer's covered by that statement that he just made. Connor says, reminder, thalidomide was approved by regulators as well, but that didn't stop it from mangling babies. Nope. Phoenix Orm says, rackets up at 2 p.m. Hell is truly frozen over. Guy, I was up at 10. I was up at 7:30 this morning. It was awful. Thermasius 1980 says, Biden taking L's like ladies on Twitter. Super Iron Bob says, our patience is wearing thin, or we will hurt you if we don't do this. That's the translation. Tater says, 4 billion people worldwide have got the shot. I think we can make an educated guess that it's pretty safe. Doesn't mean you should be forced to get it. Exactly. Doesn't mean you should be forced to get it. And the other part of that is if you don't feel safe taking it, you have the freedom to not feel safe. It's always been a freedom. White House has said United States Postal Service workers will not be required. Huh. Weird. The gray one says, oh, wow, I can't even say F this speaker by name on YouTube Super Chats. F and stop me. This man is causing something he don't want. Paragon 1172,000 says, Israel has proven the vaccine doesn't stop the spread of this 99% survivable virus. Why is he acting like that's not a fact? Those are fake stats, I guess. Walter Deadman says, why are all the deaf interpreters so ridiculous? This one is making me laugh with the Robert De Niro impersonations. I think it's because I think they actually pick the eccentric ones because they keep attention of people. Also, they want that news story. Here's what they really want. They want that CNN puff job, right? Of them saying, you know who totally killed it at the Biden press conference was the sign language interpreter. Yeah. Like that. They want that news story because it distracts from what actually happened. Dragon Fist 900 says, hey, Nick, is it weird that when he says booster shot, I think of toddler's booster seats? Yes. McCain's tumor says, how long until states start suing over this? Hopefully, Brnovich down in Arizona was like, fuck you, try it. They have not when they announced that they're investigating the school anti-mask mandates. By the way, a governor saying that schools cannot mandate masks in school does not prevent every single student from wearing a mask. It doesn't. A governor can say right now that a school cannot mandate masks, and every single student can show up to class with a mask on. Every one of them. How we're framing this as liberty to be mandated is insane. It's insane. The liberty choice is that everyone wears a mask. Or maybe some people don't. That's the liberty. That's freedom. That's liberty. But for Biden to say that that's anti-liberty, again, they've turned truth on its head. Malik Foxon says, quote, what more do you need to see? Really? We've been asking you to acknowledge truths that we find and y'all keep denying it. Need to see that you're worthy of our trust, not mandates. Out of touch. TRS Chaos says, you would think if there's a shortage of emergency responders, people wouldn't try to force people to get them medicated. Mario Carter says, empathy and compassion will begin drone vaxing. Pedro's Cigar sent me a super sticker. Thank you. High five between a lemon and a lime. Super Iron Bob says 1 out of 62,000 rate of cardiac injury for men under the age of 18. He should not lie about this stuff. Well, he doesn't have an actual fact checker. Just like how the economy is doing great and we're adding 700,000 jobs a month when that's not true. That was the expectation, and it underperformed to the tune of 300,000 jobs was what was added when they expected 700,000 because no one wants to work. But he doesn't have a fact checker. The media is complicit. David Suber says, I was injured in the Marine Corps. My family has history in the Marine Corps since World War I. If this is the path we are taking, it feels like a spit in the face. The only thing that makes me feel better is knowing Jesus died for us. Dude, the government abandoned veterans a while back, and it's starting to catch up, and it's one of the most offensive and disgusting, rapacious policies of the government. Right after Vietnam, the government was supposed to protect veterans. They never wanted our veterans coming home and being treated like they were. The worst part is the government started treating them like the people did in Vietnam after Vietnam. The government just took over the role of the people for that. It's awful. Josh S. says, I already caught it. My age demo has a 99.96% survival rate. Reinfection is rare, and I'm more likely to die of a car crash. Yeah, not getting it. Fatix the Great says, had a completely unrelated thought the other day. Do speed limit and stop signs in the parking lots of private businesses have any legal authority? I don't actually know, but my assumption is no. And I'll take that to my grave. What do they? I think the only thing they could do is ban you from the property because it's a private speed limit. How could that be enforced by a government? Cherokee Girl says, how does Nuremberg Code apply to this? No idea. I don't know. In reality, it won't apply to it because the government won't want it to. Wolfgang Deo says, so getting my hair cut, old lady likes mask mandates and told me, wait till you get to the real world. So I listed all the crap that happened in the Navy, at the college, and whatnot. She gave stupid, weird head nod. Mario Carter 13 says, China destroyed America with a sneeze. Embarrassing. No nukes or anything. Just a little sneeze, a little cough. R.I.P. Kuro Mythos says, it's funny hearing Joe say show some respect when he disrespectfully continued to check his watch during the transfer of fallen soldiers. Look, he had ice cream to eat and cream of wheat to harvest. Wolfgang Deo says, my grandma called me stupid for not vaxxing, then ranted. I said Trump's vaccine and then talked about Paradise Lost, AutoCAD, and C programming. Look, if people are giving you hell over vaxxing, you just don't have to talk to them about it. That's the thing. Don't let it ruin your relationships. Is my advice, my personal advice, unless you don't value the relationship. But if you value it, don't let it ruin the relationship. You just don't have to talk about it. I know they'll say their piece, but you just don't have to say anything back. Wolfgang Deo says, we have to send our vaccines overseas because we have already gotten the people vaccinated that want to be vaccinated. There is no more demand here. I don't actually agree with that. I think there's plenty of demand here for it. And like Joe said, the numbers are going up. Okay, then why do you need the mandates? I'm taking Joe at his word. The gray one says, want to talk about borders? Let's start talking about the southern. Oh, wait, doesn't fall under the tyrant's narrative. Magnus Borson says if he keeps pushing people, somebody's going to snap and it will be ugly. Yeah. Kuro Mythos says, I don't feel safe with Joe whispering to us. No one does. Wolfgang says, when the next pandemic comes, I'll already have enough toilet paper, so bring it hard, bring it hard, bring it hard. Dripping Not So Handsome Jack says, it disgusts me every time any Dem says God bless. Larry Romano says, no Buffy has the authority to compel you to take the shot, not the government, not your boss, nobody. Avahine says, I liked the dancing girl on the right. Was that the Macarena? Wolfgang says, so when Ebola goes pandemic, we vax for coof? Nice. Remember, Ebola was a pandemic scare for about 2 months. For about 2 months. Was that under Obama still? We almost had lockdowns. Or was that under Trump? I feel like that was under Obama. Mr. Obi-Wan 2020 says, I work for a major company that is affected by Joe's proposed pressure to mandate vaccines for all companies with over 100 people. My branch is #1 in sales in the whole company, and most of my coworkers are anti-vaccine. Well, we'll see how they do with it. Okay, that was Obama. It was 2014. Ebola was 2018. Was it? Okay, swine flu was under Obama for sure. That was 2000. No, avian flu was 2008. Swine flu was like 2012 or 2014 or something. And then, there was another one. If Trump would have done this for Ebola, it was both? It was both? Okay. Oh, there was one under each of them. If Trump would have done this type of stuff under Ebola, can you imagine the racism accusations? But the next time this will happen again. It'll happen again. Wolfgang Deo says, David Bowser says the government can donate over 100 million doses of vaccines to other countries, but there aren't enough to give to U.S. children under 12. No, they know what happens if they rush the FDA approval on children under 12. A kid dies. That's what happens. And then the FDA gets sued or something. Somebody will pay. You know, you can have all the adults die from the vaccine that you want. You kill a kid with the vaccine, things are gonna start to get real fast. That's why they haven't approved it. People are going to be watching like a hawk the moment children under 12 get that approval, because the first time some little healthy 7-year-old dies from a vaccine, you may actually see riots in the streets. Larry Romano says, your freedom is only dead if people take this seriously. Do not comply. They will, though. They already have. Velvet Nightmare, thank you for the donation. Gentleman Sausage says, sorry, Nick. Unvaxxed are just clumps of cells, not people yet. Bodily autonomy of vax comes first before a potential life. JD says, I don't like this 1930s Germany-like government. God save us all. We have to save ourselves at the next election. We have to. And that's the midterms, by the way. Michael Palmer says, Ricada Law. Nick, can't we the people file a class action suit against this? If not, why not? Government immunity. You can't do it. The government has to give you permission to sue it. Eric Bloodaxe says, Iric Bloodaxe says, I'm just glad we avoided fascism, guys. No more mean tweets. No more mean tweets. Nintendo Power says, I refuse to get jabbed. Kosher Americans. Eldon Bainling says, stop streaming when I'm sleeping. I'm supposed to be done. I was supposed to be done at 6. We're almost done. And then we'll have a stream tonight still. Miku Evo Racing says, 4 of my friends who are vaccinated ended up sick and in the hospital on ventilators. You can still get it even with the vaccine. My friends are fine and out of the hospital. No, that's only 1 in 5,000 of your friends did that. You liar. You disgusting liar. Mario Carter 13 says, system may be corrupted. Please reinstall America OS. By the way, what's up, Miku Evo Racing? I can't wait for next year, buddy. Skurzik Skurzo says, I'll do you one better. Imagine if the president mandated that all employers require their obese employees get gastric bypass surgery or face a fine. Grimm's Bar says the good news. 25% of Americans refuse to bend the knee to tyranny. I salute you all. Malachi Gaming and Talk says the Iron Curtain has fallen across the globe. Wolfgang Deo says, I thank my grandma for sending BD cash, not checks, so I can avoid the homeless and violent people on the way to the bank. I described her state, California. Some generic name says, birthday cash. There you go. Some generic name says, I'm a government contractor and I'm not authorized to get the vaccine because of my compromised immune system. How does DOL mandate jabs I can't get? I don't know. They're going to have to navigate that one. Perihelion says, good evening, Nick. When do you guys have the 2022 election? November? Would a Republican win on House and Senate reverse all this madness somehow? It would tamp it down. It would not reverse it, but it would tamp some things down. Or are they cucks? Yes. It would still tamp some things down. Asking because what you do, the rest follows. Yeah, we need, when we've got tyranny in the executive, we need a legislative that is opposed to it. And so we need a legislature to go Republican in 2022. That's what we need to do, to put a check on Joe as much as possible. Stalemate it, that's fine. That's what we want. We want a government that doesn't do anything, by the way. But yes, the GOP are giant cucks. Wolfgang Deo says, apologetics, left is insane, right is cucked, done. There you go. Samantha Schoner says, I never thought I'd see the day where I have more freedom here in Japan than my family has in the U.S. Take care, everyone. Yeah, it's crazy town. Not applicable says, most med doctors aren't scientists either. No, they're not. Brody Z says, Joe Biden just disavowed doctors, but wants you to trust his doctors, especially when that 25th Amendment rolls around for Kamala to take over. Rogue says, Germany and the Soviets did this, and it got bloody. David Suber says, I'll be honest, the VA is crap. Oh, we know, brother. I can't talk for all other veterans, but all I want is people in mass start voting for their rights. And this would be worth all the injuries. Not talking about people in chat, though. Well, no, this is a based chat. They know. They know. Rogue says, Hyderp says, if there is a cure for COVID that is not the vax, then they can't use the Emergency Act. So Joe will never admit there's another cure besides the vax. Roof Korean the base. Well, don't look at what Joe Rogan did. Don't do that. Don't go to a doctor who will literally just prescribe you every possible treatment, which isn't that what we want doctors to do? Oh, someone got the illness. We want them to attack the illness on all fronts. The government doesn't, though. They want to take away some of the treatments that some fake doctors say work because real doctors have a financial interest in them not working. Oh, shit. Did I mention that? Did I mention that the real doctors have vested financial interests in the other treatments not being valid? Oh, fuck. Weird. Roof Korean the base says, if you're related to anyone on the board of directors for EcoHealth Alliance, feds, bank CEOs, and corporate CEOs, enjoy not going anywhere in public without security for the rest of your lives. Dick Von Poundat Snatch. Most people don't work for companies with 100 plus employees. The deception is to bait those people into not caring. Ryan79 says, I work in an ER and we are not overrun with COVID patients. Joe Biden is full of crap. Yep. They cherry pick. They cherry pick the few ERs who for a few days have an influx of patients and are overrun. That's like saying that mass shootings are overrunning ERs across the country when one mass shooting fills one ER. It's you have a mass incident. It will fill an ER. In 2 days, that ER will not be full again. Just how it goes. Funny Valentine 2024 says, likelihood 2022 swings our way, or are we doomed? I think it does swing our way. I don't know about 2024, but I'm pretty confident that 2022 is going to go back Republican on both the House and the Senate. Fractal Machine said, as long as Mitch McConnell can keep his fucking idiocy in check. Sorry. Fractal Machine says, Joe, Father of the Year, says no amount of risk to your kids is too small. Meanwhile, Hunter was addicted to crack. Where was his authoritarianism then? Well, the problem was Hunter was paying Joe from his Ukraine and China connects. The problem was Joe's ridiculous salary of, over $200,000 a year in Congress and something like $400,000 a year as a vice president just wasn't enough. So Hunter was paying Joe's bills. That's where his authoritarianism went on Hunter Biden is Hunter was paying for Joe's life. Domenhall, 1989 says, I work at an airport. Most of these disturbances are actually caused by overzealous airline employees over the mask issues, even worse than TSA. Yeah, well, that's why there's never a beginning of the recording released, right? They never show how the TSA employees treated the person. Or not the TSA, the flight attendants treated the person. They never get into that. It's always the person's being unreasonable. Because they took their mask down for 30 seconds for whatever reason. And then, the person happened to walk by and was like, put the mask on, you bigot, piece of shit, coward, murderer. Where it's like, hey, fuck you. I'll put, just chill. I was taking a bite of my pretzels since you stopped serving peanuts, you bitch. D says a family member is being forced to take unpaid leave till she gets vaccinated or meets her doctor in a number of months to get an exemption. Peter Bemis says, FYI, did a charter flight Wisconsin to Florida recently, 18 grand each way. Damn, I got to grift a little harder. Echo Chamber Show says, Nikki, my boy, you're going to get got talking about the power of the people. Love you, man. Keep on telling the good truth in Minecraft. Chris Raposo says, is it time to set up our own towns where politicians and cops are not allowed in Charon, Mexico? I have no idea. Oh, wait, where politicians and cops are now allowed in Charon, Mexico? I don't know. TZ1052 New York says, medical doctor here. Vaccines work, but forced treatments are unethical. And as we see, have the opposite effect. Patients should choose their own with their medical doctor. Thank you. I fully agree with you. I fully agree. That's the crazy thing. Most of the people are not anti-vaccine. They're wary of the government mandate. They don't trust the government on this vaccine because of the mandate. 200 Watt Studio says, didn't he say he'd fight for all Americans? Oh, no. Yeah, that was a lie. Not only who voted for him and who didn't. Now this. Also, he's coming California to campaign for Newsom. Well, maybe he'll fall asleep and miss his plane. Grimm's Bar says, to be fair, the Aussies lost the war to a bunch of emus. True. Perihelion says, I'm not exactly sure if you can wake up. Every meaningful revolt against government is labeled as glowing in the dark. I hope you do, though. I don't know that we've had meaningful revolts against the government. We had the 2020 shit show all year, which was a racial and liberally motivated commie revolt. Wasn't really a revolt against the government. It was a revolt in favor of higher government. It's the weirdest thing. They're like, burn down the courthouse if you don't give us more communism. That's what they wanted. It was so weird. And January 6th wasn't a revolt against the government. Notice that there have been 0 charges for insurrection. 0 actual charges for insurrection. Even though there's an Insurrection Act, nobody has been charged for insurrection. Been charged with trespassing and demonstrating during a congressional hearing and all of that stuff. None of it. There hasn't been a meaningful revolt against the government. They're trying to expand what happened into revolts against the government. But even at the most generous, 2020 was a revolt against police, which is an arm of the government. But those people want more government. They just want special privileges for certain classes of people. Amateur Ant says it's almost time for Civil War 2.0, effing corrupt politicians. Vienticus Prime says, when's the Boston Tea Party with the shots? The Dirknad says, read Democracy, the God That Failed by Hans Hermann Hoppe. Hop. Vienticus Prime says, the illusion of freedom is the best leash. Domenhall 1989 says, Europeans have something we don't, cultural cohesion. America is full of different people, many millions of whom don't even identify as Americans. Right. We were supposed to coalesce around the idea of freedom and liberty. That's what we did for a really long time. and we've bred it out of the next 2 generations or 3. The next 2 or 3 generations have been freedom and liberty have been bred out of them. It's crazy. Delacourt says democracy from the root word demo, to destroy. Mega Lone Wolf 20 says over 600,000 heart-related deaths per year in the U.S. So why don't we have an exercise and food consumption mandate? Always been a good question. That was one of the questions asked at the Obamacare hearings, I think by Scalia. Where's the broccoli mandate? Broccoli is good for heart health. Where's that? Where is it? Wolfgang Deo says, when you pull the trigger, I'll help you repent. Gray One says, I agree, Nick. At this point, I almost pray for peaceful divorce over violence. I fear, even if at this point I understand it, I fear it. Serious Cat says Kamala Harris. Shit, I lost it. Just a second. Damn. Kamala Harris is the original super spreader. Oh, shit. Perihelion says, what happened with watering the tree of liberty? Yeah, I don't want my kids to die, but at this point, it seems the cycle needs to happen. Yeah, I just don't want it to. I want a better resolution. I'm afraid that we won't get it. Peter Bemis says 10 governors have already kicked Biden in the ball sack. Good. Deadweight Nero says, that's cool and all, Papa Nick, but when's the next Church of Gale Lord deep dive live stream? People need to know of 50 Cent's historic sacrifice. Oh, shit. Rhinosaurus Rex says, some people who cheer about the takedown of Robert E. Lee statue also cheered when a white chick wearing a gorilla mask threw eggs at Larry Elder. Yeah. Yep. Kevin Dorr says, you're right about slaves in the North. At the same time in Boston, they had signs that said the Irish need not apply. Archimedes says, did you see the Canadian's ethics teacher that was fired after 20 years for refusing to take the jab because it'd be unethical to force someone? Not applicable says, you're paying the taxes for the free perpetual jab. Oh, yeah. Yep. Watt Studio says, if there are no consequences to government and pharma for the vaccine, that means we are the subjects of the experimental vaccine. Yes, the consequences are ours. Dr. Jeebus says, vax folks are the product. They can't unvax. Railer Swim says, where do we go from here? What's the next step instead of just rolling over and letting it happen? This is a nexus point, or at least a precursor. I don't know. 25% isn't a lot of people. It's enough. It's enough to protest the jab, but it's not a lot. And that number is going to get smaller by the day. Because not everybody who's unvaccinated is actually resistant to the vaccine. They just haven't gotten around to it for whatever reason. It's going to take protests in the street, I think. You're going to have people out there saying no. My little, the adjacent town to me, slightly bigger town, 20,000 people. They had about 200 people out protesting the jab the other day, the mandatory jab. Not protesting the jab, protesting the mandate for it. It was raining, dumping down rain, and they were standing out there protesting it. Next, he says, as an Irish, I find the Blazing Saddles line deeply offensive, but yes, please do screw the Irish. Hot women only, please. But my address is as follows. Not applicable says the product is medical subsidies. Guys, duh. Yeah, yes. We're buying hundreds of millions of vaccines from these companies. They win. Lagging says, talk to them about Texas law. Sitch likes it. Oh, does he? That's interesting. Lagging says, also go on The Real BBC with Mahler. That's the in. Oh, yeah, I'd happily do that. If Az wants to have me on The Real BBC, I'd go on anytime. Anytime. K Bean says, is U.S. Postal Service exempt from vax mandate? That's what people are saying. I don't know. VP says 70 million U.S. citizens are 12 and under, so 80 million Americans aren't vaccinated at all. Makes sense. Grimm's Bar says, please tell the chat about this law, Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act of 2008. Hold the authoritarians to the fire. Read it. Go check it out, guys. Solitary Gamer says, what about employment contracts that don't include clauses about the employer-mandated vaccines or medical procedures? That'll be a good question. That'll be a very good question. Can an employment contractor mandate you have a vaccine if it's not explicitly in the contract. I guess that would determine or depend on the other terms of the contract, including its ability to gain contracts with the federal government. Caithness Barbarian says, long time to super chat. Hey, what's up? Finally able to catch you live again. Looks like I might have to get a poke to keep working and or living a life in the UK. Fun times from the former greatest empire. It's everybody, man. It's a matter of time in the US. Nyrek Dayrog says, I hear biotransference into a necrodermis body is safe and effective. Wait, is that sex with a dead person? Stormcrow900 says, well, at least David I posed next to Crispy Kids at Waco. Chipman won't be the ATF director. Don't know who they'll try next, but we should take a win when we get one. Yes. Yes, I mentioned that right at the beginning of the stream. Mr. Lost Man, message retracted. Nikuyasha says, did you hear about Joe Rogan asking if he should sue CNN because they're saying he used horse tranquilizer for the coof? I did. I don't think he's going to, but it would be fun to see if he did. Tyrannosaurus Rex says, going in U.S. Marine Corps boot camp in October. Already had the Kung flu and got over it in 2 days. Seems I'm going to be forced to take the jab. Hope it changes. It won't. Michael Beal says, it's time for us to avoid sharing our views IRL to grow a set, be called a racist, and refuse this openly. We need a culture shift, and it's on us. Wolfgang Deo says, no worries. I am the favorite grandchild I call. United we stand, divided we fall says, so is this even constitutional? No. No, it's not. It's not. Let's be honest. But we have a bunch of cuck justices. Will they say it's constitutional? Probably. Then it will be forever. Because that's how it works, right? That's what we're told. Ishalesen says, good stream, Nick. See you tonight for the appeals. Internally suffers. I don't. Stop it. You can't say that because people are going to be like, oh, the appeals. No idea until 9:30. 3 hours and 4 minutes till we find out if the appeals happen. Baron Sky says, all Discord and chat mods own air fryers. Probably true. IWD says there was an Ebola outbreak in Houston in 2014 and the DOJ threatened to jail Texas officials for responding to it. Weird reversal, huh? Marty Lund says people under 55 in Arizona accounted for less annual deaths during peak COVID than suicides did before any lockdowns drove up deaths of despair. Donald Helm says postal workers needed for 2022 and 2024 election fortification. Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. Marty Lund says pre-COVID U.S. life expectancy 78, median age of COVID deaths 78, overall impact on U.S. life expectancy of COVID 0. Alucard SRH says, how does Dr. Fauci still have a job? Because he is towing the line. Blue Crimson 2017 says, I wish that this would wake people up, but they can still eat, get drunk, and watch Netflix, so not a goddamn thing will happen yet. United we stand, divided we fall says, is this even constitutional? Again, no. But the justices aren't going to intervene. Ayn Rand says, I would love to call in and answer questions. RN for 30 years. COVID is a flu. I can't have you on. My channel will be banned in a heartbeat. If I have, you sound way too accurate and honest for YouTube. Roof Korean the Bay says elections don't go far enough. Has to be punishments for politicians, CEOs, bankers. All have addresses with searchable deeds, their pictures on their sites. Okay. That is very Roof Korean the Base of you. Track Media Only says, ask South Korea and Taiwan how peaceful divorce works. They take half, then come for the other half. Always. Always. Zero says parallel economics until we can achieve anarcho-capitalism. ANCAP is the future. Give me my McVax and my McNuke. You can be vaccinated by my McVax only if you submit to me all of your property and your allegiance. Spencer Mosher says, and there are still idiots who think the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory. Okay, guys, that is the show. Holy cats, what a great show it has been. I will see you guys tonight for some sort of stream. It might be Vic related if the appeals come back, or it probably will not, but we will be talking about something anyway. And now I got to go figure out what that something is. Thanks for hanging out with me during these daytime streams. You make them always fun to do. And yeah, we'll keep doing them as I'm able. Cup of Sooth says, can we just give Hillary's emails to Biden? Let nature take care of itself. And Wolfgang Deo says, one more. Have a good day. Hope to see you tonight, guys. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the T-post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the T-post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now.